The age-old battle of facts versus wild and radical belief, where a friendly debate can quickly turn into a showdown of stubbornness, a showdown that requires hand wraps and gloves to duke out the finer points of life's grand mysteries, or even the stupidest of beliefs. The clash of opinions continues to rage on. It's all good and fun though, right? As long as you avoid participating in the Discord call after 1 a.m., but it does in fact always create one problem. Everyone at some point struggles or has had struggles admitting we were wrong. Why the fuck is it that admitting we might be wrong feel like an uphill battle even when deep down we sense that our position may be a bit shaky anyway? Could it be the fear of embarrassment? The need to protect our stupid, pointless egos, or simply our desire to save face in front of friends and acquaintances. Perhaps it's even the fear of losing that warm, cozy feeling that comes with being right, no matter how thin the ice beneath our argument is. Or could it even be the reluctancy to open the floodgates of uncertainty that admitting we're wrong might bring, leading to a sea of doubt we'd rather not navigate? It's like this unspoken code among humans. An unwritten rule that dictates we'd rather dig our heels in, even if we secretly suspect that we might be on the losing side of the debate. So join us as we take a lighthearted dive into the fascinating world of why we, mere mortals, often find it so challenging to say these three little words. I was wrong. You hear that, Sharon? I was wrong, you stupid fucking bastard. You can keep the kids and never come back. Sorry, I forgot where I was for a second. Anyway, we'll explore the quirks of human psychology and the intricacies of stubbornness so that we can all admit we're wrong at least once and never again, because then you'll be so scared you'll never dare be wrong again. After all, what's a friendly gathering without a bit of hate speech, slur spitting, and a generous serving of self-reflection? First up, we'll start with easily the biggest and most recognizable offense, and that is that we think too goddamn highly of ourselves. I can't be seen as wrong. I swear, Woodrow Wilson became president in 1912, not 1913. I know that. It'll be the most insignificant thing, and we will not allow ourselves to just be seen as someone who misremembered a fact, a slim detail that really doesn't change anything. Our ego is like protective armor for our self-esteem. When we engage in these debates or discussions, our ego often becomes deeply invested in the outcome. It wants to maintain a positive self-image and avoid the discomfort of admitting fault. As a result, even when presented with evidence that contradicts our position, our ego can lead us to resist conceding that we are wrong still. Admitting one's mistake can feel like a blow to the ego, a chink in that armor. It's as if we're saying, I'm not as smart or knowledgeable as I thought. And that can be a tough pill to swallow for practically everyone at some point. This is especially true when the discussion is heated, or when you feel a need to save face in front of others. In essence, our ego acts as a defense mechanism, and it often takes a conscious effort to set it aside and be open to changing our minds. Acknowledging our fallibility and embracing the opportunity to learn and grow is a powerful step in our personal development. Shit, the more you actually admit you're wrong, the less people will even care. If you hold yourself to this perfect standard in order to protect your ego, then eventually that armor will shatter and people will gasp in awe that you're finally wrong. The need to see there is truly no escape and say, I'm wrong. And yes, Sharon, I see the child support payments, but I don't care you wanted this divorce. It's like giving our ego a well-deserved break from the front lines of every debate, allowing us to approach discussions with an open heart and a willingness to accept when we are wrong. So with the easy one out of the way, so you can kind of see how the video is going to work, we're going to move to cognitive dissonance, and it's honestly the strangest reason for people to avoid admitting wronghood. It is a psychological concept that was first introduced by Leon Festinger in 1957. It refers to the discomfort and mental tension that arrives when an individual holds contradictory beliefs, attitudes, or values, or when there's a discrepancy between their beliefs and their actions. People typically strive for internal consistency and try to avoid this discomfort, which can lead to various psychological mechanisms to resolve the dissonance. The scenario often seen is someone saying they love animals and would like them as a pet, but then not truly loving them after getting them. It is a classic example of cognitive dissonance that you might have never realized. When their attitude being, I love my pets, clashes with their behavior, not showing affection towards the pets, they may experience discomfort and rationalize their actions to reduce the inconsistency. This can result in various strategies to cope with cognitive dissonance, such as changing their beliefs. I don't really love my pets that much. Changing their behavior. I'll start showing more affection to the pets or justifying their actions. I'm too busy right now, but I love them deep down. They know that. Cognitive dissonance can indeed lead people to ignore or downplay facts or evidence that contradicts their current beliefs or even behaviors. It can be challenging to engage in rational discussions with someone deeply entrenched in cognitive dissonance, as they may resist changing their views even presented with clear evidence to the contrary. Another example would be a person's changing attitude towards smoking. They may initially resolve the dissonance by allowing themselves to smoke just occasionally, but then they'll transition to maybe vaping, an alternative that isn't seen as bad, and finally end things by downplaying the health risks of smoking, picking their old habit back up. These shifts in thinking help to maintain a sense of internal consistency and avoid the discomfort of acknowledging the negative consequences of their actions. Cognitive dissonance is a complete psychological phenomenon, and it can be challenging to address in others or even oneself. Recognizing when it occurs is the first step towards resolving it, and it often requires self-reflection, critical thinking, and a willingness to reconsider one's beliefs and behaviors in light of new information or evidence. Alright, so for this next one, we need to set the stage. So imagine you're hitting up the club with your homies, and of course, an argument starts over none other than Napoleon, because truly all free thinkers can't get them out of their head. Of course, when you talk about Napoleon, you talk about war. But also, what happened after the war? I'm talking about exile, if you couldn't tell. So you mentioned the exile to St. Helena in 1814, but the 4.0 honors looking ass corrects you and of course says that was 1815. Actually. Of course, how do you forget that Napoleon was exiled twice? Once in 1814 and 1815. Unfortunately for you, he was exiled to the island of Elba in 1814, and so therefore you are exiled from all future conversations because this will be brought up for the next hour until everyone is smashed enough to forget. Truly a horrifying moment that hits harder than Harry Potter not dying for the second time. I would imagine this is probably the most relatable situation because most of us hate being wrong in social gatherings. Shit, I can tell you right now, I'll remain quiet until I'm absolutely sure I'm right, because I cannot be caught lacking around the heathens that I call friends. If you're confident to spout random nonsense without being sure you're right, then you either have normal friends or you actually give not one single fuck because it takes a special person to be wrong around people you talk to every day unless it's strictly for the funny. But don't forget, social gatherings are supposed to be fun. So if you do catch someone falling asleep at the sleepover first, go a little easy on the prank. You wouldn't want to ruin the company of friends and the memories you can create unless that's how you create them. Alright, ready? You're going to want to hear this one. Alright, let's put our thinking caps on and listen. What is the difference between the internet and a horoscope? Well, people that obsess with horoscopes actually go outside and are functioning people. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Reddit 4chan. Fucking weirdos. Anyway, you were probably thinking of maybe a few different reasons, but you're honestly just in denial. All reasonable people know that horoscopes can be right, but only because the person who believes them only finds the one that matches their belief for what they wanted to see. We call that confirmation bias, and the internet is unfortunately no different. In this wretched age of misinformation, it's very easy to look something up, find some information that agrees with you, and then vomit it out as fact. Just because you saw it online doesn't mean it's true. A phrase that is true and hurts millions every day for thinking the water is still turning the frogs gay. People that believe something immediately only to get stunned when someone obliterates their stupid claim with 3 brain cells of research. Confirmation bias makes it very easy to be wrong these days, and it hurts to look like an idiot who fell for some clickbait title or baseless ass claim. It sucks, but you need to verify information before you shove it in others' faces. Going through different sources to compare information while also making sure those sources are credible really does help. Hopefully these are things you learn in school and have kept somewhat sharp, but some of you weren't really around when the internet is getting as big as it is like I was. But fear not, because this is honestly the most learnable method there is. The hard part really just comes with accepting information that goes against what you wanted. But the reason you need to compare sources is because if you search, "Are apples bad for you?" you're more likely to get information with sources saying, yes, apples are bad because they keep the doctor away. It would instantly confirm your bias that apples are bad. Instead, try searching with better search terms like, what do apples do? Apple nutritional facts. These are more neutral search terms that can bring up the good and bad better, allowing you to make inferences for yourself if apples are good for you or bad for you. The internet is awesome, but you shouldn't let it deceive you into being wrong like a goddamn idiot. You should at least only be wrong by accident. Usually when I think of myself being wrong, which, come on, rarely happens, for real. Think about when I was wrong the most during my life. That time is easy for me to remember, and I'm sure many others, because it is definitely, without a doubt, when you are a young kid. A young kid who knows nothing for sure, but wants to know everything at the same time. How am I supposed to be wrong? It might get me in trouble, give me bad grades, or even prove that I'm not as smart as I think I am. Obviously, it is kind of a complex issue that honestly can't be solved because I was 10. That is really not all though. The way you live as a kid often translates to your behavior going forward, as that is what you typically are comfortable with. Sure, you might not pick your nose as much, but you might, let's say, be afraid to be wrong at work or school. Being embarrassed sucks, but suffering financially is objectively worse. Getting fired for deleting Toy Story 2 and lying about it, or blowing your life savings believing a funny monkey picture was going to be a viable investment is not ideal. Why did you think that? So you're just going to lie. You didn't delete Toy Story 2. No, I'm not wrong. You are. You're blaming the wrong person. You didn't waste money on a stupid, funny monkey picture. For real, why did you do that? You were not wrong. Everyone else is wrong about you, even though you know you were. It is a full circle to being a kid again. That being the case, we can take more valuable information about how things worked when you were younger. People find out, and you can only hide things for so long. It is okay to be wrong. It's more important to be honest. Sure, I never learned my lesson when I was young, but looking back through all the bullshit I pulled as a kid, I can decide now I do not want to act like that anymore. It is as easy as one single decision. One that is going to help in relationships enormously. Trust me. This is the one I really struggled with the most. Fuck, I didn't want to do this one, but look, I honestly thought Vikings had horns on their helmets. I mean, shit. It's on the logo of the goddamn football team. What do you mean they did not look badass? You know, as a kid, I refused to accept the idea because it just didn't make any sense. Even to this day, it makes me sad to know the Vikings truly were not as drippy and just full of swag as I had always thought. I had a real emotional investment in this idea, and it was truly ruined when I was reading this stupid fucking book and it told me that, and I cried. I didn't cry, but I was kind of upset, and I asked my dad like 5 times, like, did they really didn't? Oh, you know, there's that. And this is something I tend to see a lot of just through a bigger scope. Fuck you, Snapchat. People, get this, are not very open to change their beliefs that have cultivated through years of growth. I know it's weird, but it comes in religion, politics, and how the universe works and was created. And if you put milk in the bowl first, you dirty fucking vermin. To avoid brain dead conversation in the comments, I'm going to pick a very safe option here to talk about. Religion. Look, I went to church every goddamn Sunday and most Wednesdays for those like youth group things. It was not even just about going to church, but also like Sunday school. Like I was pretty in deep, which also meant I had to wake up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. It should be worth it though, because obviously my soul is going to be saved. And honestly, for a while I didn't really mind. I had learned so much and kind of just committed it to memory, trusted in it. But growth has its ways of making us question literally everything. Starting to question what I actually thought of my life, I started to really disassociate myself from everything I had learned over the years. By the time I had graduated, I was done just believing everything I was told about religion and started to look around elsewhere. Ultimately, I decided, what does it matter? It seems like everyone is wrong because of how many religions are just made up, if not all of them. It sucked to ditch it and was kind of hard because I would think of things like, I would go to hell if I didn't, or I needed saving, and he died for our sins and it'd be a waste. But it would be wrong to stay if I truly didn't believe anyway. And you can take that to the church because that is in the Bible, bitch. I want to mention that if you do believe in like mainstream religion, then I understand and I mean no hate. If you believe it, then you are right. But I was wrong for still trying to fool myself into believing. It is a personal journey and who knows? I could always go back. Just remember, cereal, then milk. And also, you might think you're supposed to believe what you always believed, but things change. And if you're not believing in what you truly think is right, then that makes you wrong. Holy fuck, that was deep. So we're reaching our conclusion now. And, admitting that you're wrong can be a challenging thing to do, but it's an important part of personal growth and learning that you need to start doing now. Embracing your mistakes with humor and a positive attitude can make the process much easier and less daunting. For me, it is also something of an art form. You take your stupid fucking claim, play it off as just a dumb statement, or use it to spread misinformation. If you're not good at creating the funny though, then you can at least laugh at yourself for being retarded. Using humor makes it something of a reminder that nobody is infallible, and we all make mistakes from time to time. Like literally one of the most powerful things back in the day in imprisoning Galileo. Seems like a mistake to me. Mistakes are a fundamental part of the human experience that we love to overcomplicate. They provide valuable opportunities for learning, self-improvement, and personal development. In fact, some of the most significant discoveries and innovations in history have come from acknowledging and learning from mistakes. How do you think the first person decided to get milk from a cow? Think about it. Furthermore, the idea of being right all the time can indeed be quite boring. You basically become the actually nerd loser who is good at math or something. I don't know, they're boring. It's the diversity of perspectives, the learning from each other's errors, and the ability to adapt and change that make life interesting, dynamic, and full of misinformation for the funny. So don't be too hard on yourself when you make mistakes. Embrace them as opportunities for growth. And remember that being human means not being right all the time unless you want others to think you're a goddamn loser anyway. It's all part of the journey towards becoming a better version of yourself. Go ahead and be wrong so you can start being strong like me. It's weird, I kind of learned a lot putting all these ideas on paper, and hopefully you might also retain some of this information. But just start scrolling shorts or TikTok, whatever you want. Just forget everything. Don't remember anything. It doesn't matter anyway. We now know that admitting you're wrong is like stepping into the ring, getting hit by a few punches, and still having the courage to say, you know what? I was wrong. It's an act of humility and self-awareness that's more admirable than being right all the time. In a world where we are bombarded by information, where egos collide like bumper cars at an amusement park, and where the fear of being wrong looms large, it is important to remember that being wrong is part of the human experience. So next time you find yourself face to face with an undeniable mistake, embrace it with a wink, a smile, and the knowledge that admitting you're wrong is a courageous step towards personal growth and a deeper connection with others. In the end, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about the journey, the laughs, and the occasional cringeworthy dance moves with your ego. So go ahead, embrace the beauty of being wrong, and remember, it's all just part of this crazy, hilarious, and wonderful, imperfect adventure and the friends you made along the way. Hope you're all doing well and continue to be wrong while spreading misinformation. I appreciate anyone who made it this far. It means a lot to me that you took your time to finish this whole thing. Hopefully you got something out of it, and just let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself out there. Until next time.